Welcome everyone to the captive audience. I'm Kevin Horn. We have a very brief show tonight. I'm starting it early because of pressing timelines with so many things happening right now. But one of the things I wanted to do is kind of cover some of the key news that's going on right now, and I think you'll find it very interesting because it tells a story. Um, there's been a lot of economic news in the last day or so, and it is actually very much a reversal of all the economic news that the Democrat media has been putting out. One great example is that President Trump confirms that there's a major trade agreement with the United Kingdom. It's one of the largest economies on the planet, um, and it is a significant achievement. And this is something that President Trump, you know, uh, promised would happen, and it's the first of many. And I know that they've talked about how they're getting close to an agreement with India as well, who might be a better major trading partner than China in the long run for many reasons. Um, but this is important news. But then there was also news about the tariffs with China. They've agreed to a 90-day pause on the highest tariffs. So they're going to lower the tariff rate on Chinese goods temporarily to 30%. Um, uh, that is apparently, while China's agreed to lower its tariff rate on U.S. goods from 125% to 10%. So this is how you negotiate. This is the art of the deal. And the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and the U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer have negotiated this in Geneva with their Chinese counterparts, who would have done none of this and would have never come to the table had President Trump not stood firm. But now they know we're serious, and they also know that this could end up isolating China if China decides not to follow through on the things it says it's going to do. Let's face it, this is a confidence building measure, but this caused the markets to leap almost 1,000 points today in the Dow. And, the Democrats have spent months trying to talk down the economy. I think it's about time that we started talking down the Democrats for doing this, because they don't really care about the economy. They don't care about you and me and whether or not we can put food on the table and have low inflation, which we do have, by the way. And all the panicking that they've tried to create about tariffs has been interesting because almost none of these tariffs have had any impact. They haven't even hit prices yet. In many cases, they haven't been implemented at all. But unfortunately, the Democrats don't understand how to negotiate. They only understand how to undermine and denigrate the United States of America and the economy, because they only care about their woke green politics that apparently now has completely taken over their party and replaced all the policies that they said they stood for. And then everything else they talk about seems to be based on lie after lie after lie about what's actually happening with Doge and many other things. This is interesting. President Trump has announced an executive order today on lowering drug prices and blames foreign nations for the high costs. Now, why did he do that? Well, he said, first of all, that drug prices will be dropping between 59, 80, and 90%, depending on the type of drug. And the U.S. will no longer subsidize healthcare of foreign countries, which is what we've been doing. We pay higher drug costs. That money goes to making sure that foreign countries can go ahead and negotiate and have lower drug costs. And since in America First, the cost to our people actually matters more. And so President Trump has signed that order, and let's see what it does, because he's negotiating with a number of different groups. The pharmaceutical manufacturers, who love the Democrats, by the way, as we know, but also, frankly, putting pressure on foreign countries that want to force these prices to be lower at the expense of Americans. And that's over with, done. And so I think we've have something to look forward to here on that front, which will definitely lower the cost of living for many, many people in many, many different economic categories. The EPA is targeting the so-called climate-friendly start-stop technology. The climate-friendly start-stop technology that's in new vehicles, where when the car is stopped in order to save fuel and reduce emissions, it stops and then it starts back again when the driver releases the brake or hits the accelerator. Apparently, everybody hates it, and so Lee Zeldin, the EPA former congressman from New York, former gubernatorial candidate, came very close in to defeating Kathy Hochul in 2022, is the EPA administrator, and he is going to phase it out. They're just not going to require that cars include the technology. They'll still, they may, well, they, and so the 65% of new cars in 2023 that got this feature can be turned off by hitting a button, apparently. But at the same time, people just hate it and don't see the need for it. So I think this is where practical considerations for everyday people are being considered. On the ICE front, they arrested 422 illegal migrants in a sweep in Texas. Some of these people were wanted for murder and sexual assault. And of course, these are the people Democrats are fighting to keep in the country. There's one gentleman, well, ICE said that of the illegal migrants convicted of murder in Colombia, 5 were allegedly gang members. So there were 422 arrests, 262 had criminal convictions, 34 have pending convictions, 126 have other immigration violations, and 229 have final orders for removal been issued already. There's a dude who has a homicide conviction in Colombia. He was sentenced to 21 years there. He entered the United States illegally in February of 24, given a court date for immigration hearing and released, did not show up. So in March of this year, he was ordered removed by the immigration judge. Due process, Democrats, that's been had here. And what happened? Guy's still running around. They got him. So they have been searching databases to try and find the worst of the worst and weed them out. And there's some other good news today, which is that apparently a federal judge has now allowed the IRS to share information about the alleged illegal migrants with the Department of Homeland Security. This is something that the Democrats sued to block, and but they lost. And so this judge has established that one part of the government can work with another part of the government to catch people who are here illegally that show up in our IRS rolls. It's about time. California Governor Gavin Newsom has directed local governments to clean out homeless encampments. It's funny because he was, under his time in leadership in California, they've seen a massive increase in homelessness, and he helped fund it to the point where they had hundreds of millions of dollars simply disappear, and they can't figure out what happened. There's even, and by the way, this announcement came as the state releases $3.3 billion in voter-approved Proposition 1 funding, which apparently relates to homelessness. And California, by the way, is the highest homelessness rate in the country, and with cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco leading the way. Los Angeles has the second highest homeless population in the country, behind New York City. So this is Gavin Newsom, and I think I know why he's doing this, because the next story tells the story. The Department of Homeland Security has subpoenaed California's assistance program for illegal migrants. That's right. DHS announced Monday has subpoenaed California's cash assistance program for immigrants to investigate whether ineligible illegal migrants receive payments from the Social Security Administration. So they're starting to doge California. Just wait till when they get to the homelessness side of things. Plus, Gavin Newsom's running for governor, so that could have something to do with it. But this is a state-funded program designed to provide monthly cash benefits, they say, to aged, blind, and disabled non-citizens who are ineligible for SSI, supplemental security income, and state supplemental payments due solely to their immigration status. But now they're going after this because this is a key example where radical left politicians in California have prioritized illegal aliens over their own citizens. And as we know, money's fungible, so they're taking money, taxpayer money in California, putting it into illegal migrants, but then they're also taking federal money and giving it to other people. Also, they can spend as much or more money in the end. And the Trump administration is going to work to identify the abuse and the exploitation of public benefits and make sure that those in the country illegally are not receiving federal benefits or financial benefits to stay illegally. And aiding and abetting illegal migrants to stay here is part of the reason why they do and why they go to places like California. Just wait till they get to the homelessness issue and look at that. Next up. This is going to be an abbreviated program today, but I did want to bring to your attention that natural gas, there's an initiative whose backers are preparing to appeal a request to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. It is a Building Industry Association of Washington has the green light to ask the Washington Supreme Court to consider an appeal of a ruling by a King County judge that struck down an initiative protecting natural gas as an energy source in Washington. This is really important because this judge essentially negated the will of the people, and they're taking this all the way to the top because the people said they want to have access to natural gas. But this judge thinks that he by himself can actually go ahead and just say that it is not going to happen. So, and of course, as you know, last month, the Trump administration reversed the Biden administration's recent attempt to ban certain natural gas water heaters. That's right. They actually tried to do that. The House Republican part of the budget bill has been released. It does involve apparently some changes to Medicaid, to particularly work requirements and more frequent eligibility checks, which sound pretty reasonable to me. Democrats will call those cuts, but those aren't cuts when you establish criteria for them and you find out if people are qualified anyway to begin with. It's not an attack on Medicaid, but that's what the Democrats are going to say. It's time to get the truth out there. But there's also provisions in this bill which are going to cut off some of the woke funding, which is about time, actually. And it's very exciting to see that they're going to finally get to this and remove it. But there's a lot of savings that they're trying to find in these bills, and it hasn't been done for a very, very long time in the way that it needs to be done. Some Oregon news. Representative Janelle Bynum in CD5 has decided that she's going to basically spend all her time trying to hold town halls that go after President Trump. That's all she's going to do. She's got 10 of them planned. Maybe you can go and attend them. Have a look at this list. And we know that others are listing that they're doing this too. Jeff Merkley recently decided that it's really a good use of his time to call for resistance because he just doesn't want to do his job, actually. And it's crazy, but that's his decision. We're not going to help him with that. But that's what he does. He goes and he's holds Democrat campaign rallies, and that's what these are in the end. That's what they are. Apparently, let me see here. This article's not coming up. Neither is this one. See if I can shift it over here and maybe get it to show up bigger on my screen because, 70% of Oregon AG's work, the new one, is devoted to fighting Trump, not criminals. Apparently, despite all the crime that's been ravaging the state of Oregon, um, Attorney General Dan Rayfield doesn't have time for that. He's been spending his time suing the Trump administration instead. And you can see all the examples here. Said 59 of 81 press releases deal directly or indirectly with political fighting against President Trump and other Trump related federal actions. The rest of it, not so much. Even though very recently there was a record breaking biggest drug bust in the nation's history here in Oregon. There was really apparently no time for him to devote his energies to that. And it's really been done by the feds and by the local jurisdictions. Dan Rayfield decided that the most important thing is to fight President Trump and not fight for the safety and security of the people of the state of Oregon. And I think that should be held against him in the future, for sure. So there's a very good article here that came out this morning that I'm going to send to you. It's from the Epoch Times, and it's a really good reporter here that covers Oregon that talks about what happened with the arrest of the Sinaloa cartel leader, who was running the largest drug smuggling operation in the United States. And I think you should take a look at it because it was happening right here, being led out of Salem, Oregon by this guy. What a sleazebag. Let's see here. And more signs of Portland extremism. A Eugene man with a punch Trump sign is at a marathon, while another photo shows how to protest at the University of Washington turned into arson. And they were the May Day protests where they had signs, class war, not culture war, calling ICE Gestapo. There's some trans Tifa protesters that Andy No calls out. It's a real thing. And this is essentially the militant wing of the Democrat Party. They're proud of it, and we should make sure that they own it. Anyway, that's a whole swath of stories to cover today. I really hope that you get a chance to look at some of them. Thank you for joining me here on this abbreviated Captive Audience show. And we'll be back tomorrow night with another